Today's episode of Transformers Prime, Patch, is another clip show episode, and therefore I don't have a lot to say about it, frankly. But like Prime's last clip show, it's extremely well done. Like, I don't know much about the production of this show. I know less about it than a lot of my viewers do, and you guys have informed me about some of it in the comments, which I appreciate a lot. So I know that there was some tumult, for lack of a better term, going on behind the scenes as this show was being made. I don't know if that contributed to the fact that they needed clip shows to fill out airtime, or if they had planned this all along, but I've found the clip show episodes in this show to be, like, genuinely good. Like, I am of the mind that clip shows are not inherently bad just so long as you use them to do something interesting. And this time around, it picks up exactly where the previous episode left off, with Starscream returning to the Nemesis with incentive for Megatron to bring him back on board. But Megatron, despite the fact that he calls Starscream arrogant in this episode, he himself is still arrogant, so I have expected he'd just go ahead with this. I did not remember this episode at all. Maybe because it was a clip show, maybe I didn't watch it the first time through, I don't know. Because while Megatron has been making mistakes lately, you can explain those mistakes away by saying that Megatron is just so confident in himself that he wants things to go a certain way. He's trying to be a little showboaty, I guess, is the best way to put it. And that gets in the way of being entirely logical in each given encounter. Doesn't explain away some of the logical hiccups with the way the world works, but, you know, that's beside the point. So I was genuinely, pleasantly surprised when, instead of just letting Starscream back in, Megatron hooked him up to the cortical psychic patch and went into Starscream's head to explore his memories. And that's where the clips came from. These were all Starscream-centric clips. And Starscream is probably the best character in this show, because he is just scheming enough that he sometimes accomplishes things, but he's also extremely entertaining and melodramatic, chewing the scenery everywhere he goes, and also pitiful enough that he fails often in extremely amusing ways. He's the whole package, and revisiting the entire series from start to present through the perspective of his perspective scenes was a great way to not only recap the entire series quickly and efficiently in ways that would, rather than going over every detail, just remind viewers of what they've already seen. It also kept the focus on some of the most amusing moments of the series. And like all of the best clip shows, this one actually impacts the world in which it takes place, because as all of this is happening, we see Knockout, who's been removed from the wall that he was stuck in and is overseeing the patch. He sees Megatron seeing some of the memories in Starscream's head of Knockout siding with Starscream over Megatron when Megatron was laid up all the way back in Season 1. He even, in an attempt to protect himself, knowing that Megatron's, or at least suspecting that Megatron's going to be pissed with him when he comes out of the patch, intends to basically unplug Megatron from the Matrix and destroy his brain. And it's only the timely arrival of Dreadwing showing up to check in on them that saves Megatron's life. Assuming that Knockout would have had the guts to go through with it. But then, because Dreadwing is there... okay. And this is the biggest, most impactful thing that comes out of this episode, I think. Because Dreadwing is there, he sees Starscream's memories of what he did to Skyquake, reanimating him and then leaving him trapped in a limbo dimension to wander as an undead for all eternity. And so at the end of the episode, we see him standing on top of the Nemesis screaming, because not only does he see that, not only does he know what state his brother is actually in now, but he sees Megatron tell Starscream that he probably shouldn't make that public knowledge, because Megatron knows what Dreadwing would do. I don't know what Dreadwing would do, but it seems like Megatron does, and he doesn't want it to happen. So, now Dreadwing knows that the person he's most loyal to in the universe betrayed him. And in the end, Megatron does decide to let Starscream back in. He has seen that Starscream really has failed enough that maybe it's finally sunk in that he can't do this himself, and he wants the Decepticons to be a united front against the Autobots. Now more than ever, because they are closer than they've ever been to winning this thing outright. And there's also this great moment where he knows that Knockout would have seen that stuff, that Megatron saw. He knows that Knockout would know that Megatron knows that Knockout sided against Megatron. You get what I mean. And so Megatron talks to Knockout through the display that's showing the stuff happening inside the patch, and basically tells him, yes, you too, I'm not going to kill you, it's fine, just don't do this again. It's all very good. It paints Megatron as savvy as he's always been implied to be, but maybe hasn't always been shown to be in some of these past episodes. I don't know if I would call this my favorite clip show out of anything I've ever seen. There are some pretty good clip shows in Power Rangers, and there are some pretty good clip shows in Stargate SG-1. I've mentioned before in this actual review series that I kind of hold Stargate SG-1 as the golden standard for good clip shows. But this is definitely up there. Like, don't skip this one just because it's a clip show. It's genuinely funny and genuinely informs about the characters, and it changes the status quo of this world pretty substantially. I liked it a lot, but because it didn't really have much of a story of its own, that's really all I have to say about it. So, as per usual, if you guys have seen the Transformers Prime episode Patch, what do you think of it? Let's get a discussion going in the comments section down below. And while you're down there, you might as well like the video, share it with anyone else who you think would enjoy my content, subscribe if you haven't, and you can also check out links to my various social medias as well as the many ways you can help out the channel. Those will be in the video description. But either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.